This is part 2 of repairing the Hubert Herr one-day cuckoo clock. Um, Now that you got the E-clip off this lever here, you can pull it out and you can disconnect the minute arbor. Um, Remove the nuts. I've already done those. A lot of people like using a pair of pliers. I use a nut driver when I can. You can't really use the nut driver here because the high lift arm lever is in the way. I don't like using pliers because it'll damage the nuts, so that's when I use the nut driver when I can, especially if the cuckoo clock hasn't been taken apart in a while. But with the nuts removed, I also want to mention that prior to taking the clock apart, I would suggest taking pictures of both the front and the rear of the movement and every side, and make sure they're clear pictures. You want to review them. That way you can know how to put them back together when you're all done. So we'll go ahead and take the back plate off. And taking pictures as you go. That way you know how to put this thing back together. Again, being a one-day movement, on the time side, you have the great wheel, the second wheel, and the third wheel, which is also the escape wheel. And on the strike side, you have the great wheel, the second wheel, which will not come apart because it has the cam on the other side. The third wheel, and the third wheel's got that wire that I was talking about, that the bent arm on the rack stop lever catches to make the bird shut up. And then the flywheel. And then on the Hubert Herr movements, you can take out the center minute arm here. I will not be taking the second wheel apart because it has the cam section on it. But as you go, you'd want to inspect your parts. You'd want to clean them up with a rag. If you're going to use an ultrasonic cleaner, especially cuckoo clocks, you want to make sure there's no cat hair and garbage that's going to go down into your cleaner, because cleaner is expensive. But you want to take a brush, rag, clean them up prior to putting it in into the ultrasonic cleaner. Just like I told you with the dishwasher, the way the dishwasher does a good job is you pre-wash the dishes. Well, in this case, you want to pre-wash your clock parts to make sure that the ultrasonic cleaner is going to do a good job. And like I said, you could either take a toothpick now or do it later and clean out these pivot holes. And prior to taking the movement apart, if you're using an ultrasonic cleaner that has a heater on it, you want to go ahead and start the heater because it takes a while for the heat to reach the desired temperature. I set my ultrasonic cleaner at 50 degrees Celsius, and it takes about 20 minutes or so to reach that temperature. So I start it prior to taking the movement apart, and that way it reaches the temperature while I'm taking the movement apart. So you want to inspect, like I said, each one of these parts to make sure that the arbors are not bent and not rusted. And this is a good time to clean them up if they are rusted. You can use a Dremel on the steel parts. Use a wire